tend to shut God out, not realizing our sorrow and pain brings us into the quietness where His still voice shouts.
Cherie Hill. Albeit true, we just wish God wouldn't shout so loud. Are we really that deaf? Evidently so. They have ears but cannot hear. Psalm 115, verse 6, NLT. Yet, as He shouts at us, why can't we see Him? Where is He when we need Him? He calls to us through the megaphone of pain, but when we come running, we can't find Him. But if I go to the east, He is not there. If I go to the west, I do not find Him. When He is at work in the north, I do not see Him. When He turns south, I catch no glimpse of Him. Job 23, 8 and 9, NIV. Doubt steps into the picture once again, and the questions begin to spiral out of control. Does He know what we're going through? Does He understand our desperation? Through the silence, there's a whisper in our spirit, and briefly we recall, even though Jesus was God's Son, He learned obedience from the things He suffered. Hebrews 5, verse 8, NLT. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet He did not sin. Hebrews 4, verse 15, NIV. Our spirit is calmed as we realize that a deep desire is satisfied. We not only want a God who knows all about our pain, we want a God who shares in it. He was despised and rejected by mankind, a man of suffering and familiar with pain. Isaiah 53, verse 3, NIV. Although we might argue that our situation is as painful as enduring the cross, our argument just simply doesn't hold water. Our blood and water have not been spilled out literally. As we humble ourselves at the foot of the cross, in a brief moment of calm, we can't help but wonder, does God know something I don't? Is it possible that things look different from His perspective and He knows the bigger picture? Is it feasible that in my pain and suffering, He is working all things for good and I just can't see it? Maybe, just maybe, God knows what He's doing. In a moment of reckoning, we realize God allows in His wisdom what He could easily prevent in His power. Graham Cook. Even though that revelation is thought-provoking and fairly faith-stretching, knowing that God loves us and works all things for good, in the end, just doesn't seem to be enough. The begging question within our soul is, can God be trusted? As we ponder the answer, we recall that God's ways are higher. For just as the heavens are higher than the earth, so my ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. Isaiah 55, verse 9, NLT. We're convinced that His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. As hard as we try, we can't figure God out. And His ways may be higher, but they certainly don't seem better. We made plans for our lives, but He's determining our steps and taking us places we never wanted to go. We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. Proverbs 16, verse 9, NLT. We find ourselves taking the very next step in front of us, only to find our feet knocked out from under us. How can we trust a God who is constantly bringing us to our knees in helpless desperation? We decide to take the journey of life with Him, and He brings us to the edge of a cliff. We find ourselves at the edge, consumed with fear, and God seems to push us right off. We're helpless and hopeless and free-falling into the abyss of darkness. What kind of loving God does this? Evidently, one who's teaching us to trust Him. Indeed, these are the